The Stanley Hotel stands high above the mountain town of Estes Park, Colorado, surrounded by the towering peaks of Rocky Mountain National Park. With its white walls, red roof, and elegant architecture, the hotel looks beautiful in daylight, but after darkness falls, the Stanley becomes something very different. For more than a century, guests and employees have reported strange footsteps, unexplained voices, objects moving by themselves, and the feeling that someone is watching them. Some call it one of America's most haunted hotels. And the strange part is that many of its ghost stories are connected to real events. The story begins with Freeland Oscar Stanley, a wealthy inventor and businessman who helped create the famous Stanley steamer automobile. In the early 1900s, Stanley suffered from serious health problems, especially tuberculosis. Doctors advised him to move to a dry mountain climate. Stanley traveled to Estes Park with his wife Flora, and the mountain air seemed to improve his health. Impressed by the beauty of the area, Stanley decided to build a luxurious hotel there. Construction began in 1907. In 1909, the Stanley Hotel officially opened. It was designed as a grand mountain resort for wealthy visitors. The hotel had electricity, running water, elegant dining rooms, beautiful furniture, and modern conveniences that were unusual for the region at the time. But within its long history, the hotel became associated with tragedy and unexplained incidents. One of the earliest and most famous stories involves a woman named Elizabeth Wilson, who worked at the hotel. During a powerful snowstorm in 1911, a gas leak caused an explosion in room 217. Wilson was working as a housekeeper and entered the room to prepare it for a guest. The explosion seriously injured her. She survived, but suffered severe injuries. Today, room 217 is one of the most famous rooms in the hotel. Guests have claimed that their luggage was mysteriously unpacked, clothing was moved, and strange sensations were experienced inside the room. Some visitors even report waking during the night and feeling an invisible presence near the bed. The hotel, however, does not officially claim that these experiences prove the existence of a ghost. That distinction is important. The Stanley Hotel is genuinely historic. Its paranormal reputation, however, is based largely on reports, legends, and personal experiences rather than scientific proof. Another famous area is the fourth floor. Guests and staff have reported hearing children running through the hallway, laughing and playing. Some visitors say they have heard footsteps outside their rooms, only to open the door and discover an empty corridor. Others have claimed to see figures disappearing around corners. The strange reports do not stop there. The hotel's concert hall is another location surrounded by stories. Flora Stanley, the wife of the hotel's founder, was an accomplished pianist. After her death, people began reporting unusual sounds connected to the concert hall and piano. Some visitors have claimed to hear piano music when nobody was playing. Others say they have seen a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothing moving through the area. Whether these experiences are supernatural or simply the result of an old building settling, echoes traveling through empty rooms, or human imagination remains impossible to prove. But one event transformed the Stanley Hotel's reputation forever. In the 1970s, a writer named Stephen King stayed at the hotel with his wife Tabitha. At the time, the hotel was almost empty because the tourist season was ending. King later said that his experience there inspired his famous novel, The Shining. According to King's accounts, he and his wife stayed in room 217. That night, King reportedly had a terrifying dream involving his young son being attacked by a supernatural force. He woke frightened and began imagining the possibilities of a haunted hotel. The experience became part of the inspiration for his novel. The fictional Overlook Hotel in The Shining was not an exact copy of the Stanley, but the connection made the Colorado Hotel internationally famous. After the novel and later film became popular, thousands of people began visiting the Stanley, specifically because of its connection to the story. Today, the hotel embraces its haunted reputation. It offers tours that focus on its history and paranormal legends. Visitors are told stories about mysterious voices, ghostly figures, unexplained sounds, and rooms where strange things supposedly happen. Some guests leave convinced that they experienced something supernatural. Others remain skeptical, And that is what makes the Stanley Hotel so fascinating. There are two different stories living inside the same building. The first is completely real. A wealthy businessman built a luxury hotel in the Colorado mountains. A serious accident occurred in room 217. People lived and died there over generations. Stephen King stayed there and found inspiration for one of the most famous horror novels ever written. The second story is harder to explain. It is the story of footsteps with no one behind them, children laughing in empty hallways, piano music from an empty room, figures appearing and disappearing, and guests waking in the middle of the night with the unmistakable feeling that they are not alone. There is no scientific evidence proving that ghosts inhabit the Stanley Hotel, yet the reports continue. Perhaps the explanation is hidden in the building's age, its strange acoustics, its dark history, or the power of suggestion. Or perhaps something really does remain inside those old walls. Because when the sun disappears behind the Rocky Mountains and the corridors become quiet, the Stanley Hotel changes. The rooms grow darker, the hallways become strangely silent, and somewhere inside the historic building, a floorboard may suddenly creak. A door may move. A distant sound may echo through an empty corridor. And for one brief moment, you may wonder whether the hotel is truly empty, or whether someone who never left is still walking through the halls.